Hi everybody. I am going to be very brave. I am stepping outside of my comfort zone. I'm feeling a lot of sacred rage, and I know when I have these experiences, I've had quite a few experiences over the last few days, that it brings into my awareness de-weaving that I need to do for the collective. And normally I would do that privately, just at home on my own, but it feels really, really important and really probably part of my own evolution. And there is this big push at the moment from the universe, or an invitation from the universe to be in our truth, to be whatever has been unseen to be seen and come out. And so I am going to honor that within myself and do this live video. Now, I don't know, I can't see if anybody is on, so I'm just gonna, so it might not show, I might, because I've done it on my page and it has very limited exposure. Anyway, so if you are commenting and I'm not seeing your comments, I'm so sorry. I will come back to them later after the video. Otherwise, yeah, let's see how this goes. So I will explain a little bit about my sacred rage. So over the last week or so, I've had a lot of examples coming up through conversations with people and interactions with people around our disempowerment and disconnection with our bodies. And many of these people have been experiencing chronic illness or a continuation of just stuff, you know, illness, disease, just a, you know, lifestyle of it, you know, coming up a lot. And yes, we are going through huge ascension processes and our bodies are shifting and changing, which is really exciting, which is bringing up a lot of stuff. But what is happening is we keep going into, and I keep hearing this story over and over again, people who have gone back to doctors for years and never healing and never getting help. And I have a huge passion to see the world, the healing paradigm, our health and wellness areas and sectors all working together. I wish and dream and desire for harmony in those areas. You know, there is a lot of goodness in the traditional healthcare system. Hi, Donna. You're going to love my sacred raging. I'm so glad you're on, because I feel like you can hold space for that. I reckon, yeah, you know what that is, so it's good. A little bit of your fiery energy is going to interact with mine. And there is also so much value in all of the natural therapies as well. And I've been getting so much sacred rage over our thinking that needs to shift. This is not just about the doctors that need to change, or a hospital system that needs to change, or a healthcare system, or the mental health care system that needs to change. This is about all of us changing our thinking. We have been programmed to think in such a linear, equation-based way, and to think from these ideas that when we have a symptom of a disease comes up, or an illness, and we have a symptom, that there is some drug or some surgery that is going to fix that instantly, and that's done. We don't even take into account that it might have something to do with more of our life, something that's going on around us, and that when we suppress it with a drug, it might take away the symptom. It doesn't actually heal what was going on, or the imbalance in the first place. So I get really, really annoyed with that. Hi, Nikki. Lovely to have you on as well, doing a little bit of sacred raging and being very brave with this. So I'm going to do some healing on this, because we all need to change our thinking. You know, I've been speaking to people who still going through this thinking, process of thinking and way of thinking, that all of these things are separate from us. that there is some germ outside of us or some bacteria outside of us that has gotten in that's making us sick, or some thing that we can kill off to make us better. It's not about killing off stuff. Hi, Nikki. Hey, beautiful. It's about bringing harmony and balance back into our bodies. And when we go through any illness or disease, it is a pathway, a doorway, a portal to a new balance. We've been out of balance because we've been carrying this old program, or we've been living a lifestyle that is not supporting us. We've been having these experiences and this insight dropping in of, because I've been experiencing another bout of fatigue and adrenal crashing and things like that. And when I go into it, I was like, what is going on again? Like, what's happening? And I had this insight drop in. I was having a beautiful conversation with a friend. And as I was growing up, every part of the world, every system in the world did not honor my body's flow, the way my body works. It did not honor it. I had to fit into systems that didn't work for me. I had to fit into a school system that you had to be there 5 days a week with a group of people where I was feeling everybody's energies. It was too much for me. And so my physical body would break down regularly because it needed a break. And so then I was seen as the sick kid, or not able to cope with things. And it has nothing to do with not being able to cope. It's just this system does not work for me. And there was no place and no honor for it. And there still is not. And I'm getting really pissed off about it. I really, imagine a world where we would see and honor everybody's individual flow. Imagine, unschooling my children has been the biggest blessing and the most amazing journey of my life, to have them go from traditional schooling where it was a set routine and it was somebody else decided when, where and how they could eat, sleep and do things. Somebody else was in control of that. To give them back that power, I have seen them blossom and become so much more healthy, so much more happier, because they're in their own flow of energy. They are honoring themselves. And imagine if we all had been given that. Imagine if we all grew up in a world where we were just in our flow. There would be harmony on our planet. We think of it that it would cause chaos. It wouldn't cause chaos. It would actually cause harmony and resonance, because we would just be flowing and we would honor that flow in others rather than fighting against it. So today's healing. Oh, I like this one. So I'm going to just do a whole lot of de-weaving and dissolving of all these fucked up patterns and all these fucked up programs and all these pathways of thinking that keep us disempowered, and putting into a system. I was listening to a beautiful person that I know, and she has had chronic illness for quite a few years now and living with it. And she's getting frustrated because she's gone from doctor to specialist to doctor to integrative doctor, and nothing is helping. Nothing is working. Nobody wants to know about it. And now, then she's getting to the point where they question her sanity. Maybe she's making all of this up, all of that crap. And I'm like, why are you going back to the fucking doctors? Why do you keep going back into the system? Start investigating outside of the system. Start coming back into your own power. We keep giving our power away thinking that somebody else is going to have the answer. It's great to get some information or some knowledge that you don't know. It's great to look for that, but always bring it back to yourself, back to your own body. Reconnect with what's going on here. It's like when I asked my body, why are we so fatigued? And then I have this insight dropped in of, I'd spent years of being taught to ignore my body, to ignore my sensitivity. No wonder it's going, we ain't doing that anymore. No wonder it's going, yeah, no, you're feeling this, that's it, deal with it. Because it's just had enough of being pushed to the side. It wants us to reconnect. Our bodies are dying for us to reconnect. They literally are dying for us to reconnect and come into a beautiful, loving relationship with it instead of this fight. My husband's in the personal training area, he's a personal trainer, and the fitness industry. And oh my God, the fight that goes on in people with their bodies. Stop fighting with your body. Nothing good has ever come from war and fighting. Nothing. Stop it. Your bodies are beautiful, amazing, powerful, wise, and intelligent vehicles for your soul. And they're not separate from your soul. They are the physical manifestation of your soul. And whatever is going on at a soul level for you, whatever is going on at an energetic level for you, is going to come into the physical, is going to show up. And that is an amazing thing, because as it shows up, you can then go, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't realize I was out of balance there. Or, oh, wow, look how much I am in balance because I'm feeling this beautiful health and freedom in my body. And we've got to have flow. We've got to have movement in our body. We've got to feel life force in our body. The food you eat needs to be full of life force. We've got to stop eating dead food. Dead food equates to dead cells. We can't, the message, the communication that dead food is giving your body is dead. It's not giving it a communication of life and vitality. Look at the difference between, and look at the colours that you're eating. Wheat is not alive. It is dead. It's been poisoned. So anything with wheat, anything that is this yellow, bland colour, if that's the majority of what you are eating is white and yellow and it's very bland, it ain't going to give you health and vitality. No matter what one diet says or what the newest fad is or what the newest information is, start coming back to your body, what feels good to it. What makes you feel alive? Like, I don't know anybody, other than if you're highly allergic to strawberries, but if you had a strawberry, how many people can go, oh, nah, that tastes dead to me? If you have an organic, juicy, ripe strawberry and you are eating it and not allergic to it, you feel this beautiful life force. You feel this connection. It awakens your senses. You can smell it. You can taste it. You can feel it. That's what you want to be eating more of, not lifeless food. So, we've got to start really listening. Our bodies know this. Our bodies know what they need to come back into balance, and everything that we need is around us. When you start looking, the world is giving you, the universe is giving you this information. It is available around you. You know, so often we think of, we've been taught part of this thinking, part of this paradigm and these thought programs are that healthcare is something that is reserved for somebody who has been to medical school and understands all the language. So they're the only ones that can understand health. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Your body knows what it needs. It's okay to go and ask for advice or ask for information, but always let it come back to you. Does that feel right? Does that resonate with you? Does it resonate deeply within your body? And we've got to start practicing this reconnection back into what our body's really asking for. Sometimes we have to go through layers of stuff. You know, we've spent so much time, if we just look at what I was talking about before, my body going through a schooling system and a way, like I was so blessed in that we lived on land and yes, the medical system is definitely sick care, Donna, not health care. Three people watching. I love it, Nikki. Oh my God, I've had double numbers for days. Like every time I look, it's double numbers. It's like, whoa, so strong. It's beautiful. Yeah, I was so blessed growing up because I lived on property and my mum was quite, I'd say health conscious and very intuitive herself. And so I grew up just going and eating beautiful fruit off the trees. Like we had an orchard and veggie garden, and I'd just eat capsicum straight off the thing like apples. And I grew up running around barefoot. And so I had this experience of having this freedom, but then going into society, there was this limitation and restriction on my body and how it could be. And so that adds layers to you know, whenever we're continually suppressed or deprogrammed or programmed out of listening to our truth, there's no freedom and availability for us to tune in and go, actually, I don't want that, I want this. And as children, we're controlled a lot by the adults and society around us. And so there are those layers that we have to get through to start with. 2K number plates, 444 and 666. I love it, Donna. Oh my God, this is awesome. I'm loving having both of you guys on. I can feel your energy holding space for this, so thank you. Yeah, and so we do need to go through those layers to get to our truth sometimes. It does take a little while to awaken to that. What is the deepest truth within us? Because sometimes we can think we're at that, oh yeah, that's what my body needs, and we're at a level of programming rather than what the truth is. And so it takes a little while to learn to really get what that is. But we've so got to do it, and we've so got to start letting our kids do this so that they are not programmed with all of this. Something that's really, you know, all of these paradigms and these systems, we look at the sick care system instead of healthcare system, Donna, and education system, all of these areas where we're like, we need to change, these things aren't working. But each time we go in, like if everybody stopped going to the doctors, if everybody just stopped going to the doctors and stopped going to the hospital for a month, I know that's not realistic, but if we thought about that, if we withdrew all of that, we're the ones supporting the system. So we need to change our thinking. We need to change, you know, that there is a time and a place for those things, but it is not this continual, like just going in for a cold or a flu and being given antibiotics. It's not going to work. And this whole linear idea of, oh, this is the diagnosis, this is the, you know, the drug you take or the surgery you have or the procedure you have, and you should be fine. It doesn't work like that. Our bodies don't work like that. Our bodies are not linear. And we've got to stop, you know, living these lies, these untruths that we've been programmed with. So as I've been talking, I've been doing a lot of unweaving and dissolving of all of this as I've been talking, and a lot of bringing in and opening those new pathways. I was aware that there must be some opening going on at the moment to allow this to happen. So it seems to be happening in cycles. So every now and again, I do some healing on the healthcare system or the education system or the government system or whatever it is. And then it comes back again, this beautiful cycle, because life isn't linear. We don't work in linear things. If you look at the planets don't just stay in a line and not move. Everything is moving. Everything is in relationship with each other all the time. Oh, wow, yeah, Nikki. I hope your daughter's okay. I know sometimes, like I said, there is value sometimes in those services. I'm not saying that there's no value, but it is, it's interesting when we're confronted with that so out of sync. I've even noticed, even talking to people, that I'm sort of like, oh my God, so many people, I keep thinking people should be thinking like this. And then I come up against their programming. I'm like, oh, the people still holding this programming. Yeah. Donna Roberts, too portable. Oh, yes. I know, I was reading about that, getting quite excited about that and feeling the energy of it. It's beautiful. I'm liking it. I like that it's opposite the Lion's Gate, and here I am roaring. I wonder if it can still have a little bit of that lion energy. Hi, Chloe. Oh, so lovely to have you join too. So, and Joe as well. I noticed you're on as well. So I've been doing a little bit of sacred raging about the healthcare system and changing our programming around our health and well-being. So this is probably right up your alley, Chloe, with stuff that you're focusing on. I will do a little shout out for anybody. Chloe in her Mama Heart space, I think it's in her group there, but if I'm not sure, sorry, Chloe, is doing a focus on health and well-being. She has been for all of January and doing some more for February too. So just giving her a shout if anybody wants to join in her just a space to connect and hold yourself accountable for things and to share some new ideas and things going on. Yeah, see, that's perfect, Nikki. Like, you have to do stuff like that. That's where they're great. Like, Western medicine is so good for those things. It's the Aquarius Leo axis. Of course! So we've got all this higher thinking with the Aquarius about how we want it to be with all the fire of the Leo. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad it's not broken. That's awesome. Yeah. Ah, cool. Awesome. Got it, Chloe. Awesome. So Mama Heart Space, if you want to join in with that. It's a beautiful group where you can have a little bit of just sharing and honouring of your body and your health and well-being over the next month. So awesome. So we're going to do some, if you guys want and anybody who's not watching this live, anybody who watches this after, if you'd like to receive any of this healing, just give your permission energetically, that's fine, and you can receive. All of my healings go out only in honouring of people's permission and their sovereignty and wherever they're at. So nobody receives anything they're not meant to. And it's available for anybody who wishes to receive. So we're going to do a bit of reprogramming our minds. So let's just dissolve all those old programs. Many of us have been inherited a lot of these as well. So we've grown up with them, society has programmed, and our ancestors were programmed. You know, it wasn't that long ago our ancestors lived in a more connected world where they understood that connection, understood that everything was in this beautiful relationship with each other. And so, you know, the stars affect our health, the plants, the environment that we're in affect our health, or affect our bodies. I shouldn't say our health, because I think we have this split idea that if we are not in some idea of perfect health, then we're not healthy. And yet every time I tune into my body, it keeps telling me, we're doing amazing. Like, what are you talking about being sick? We're doing exactly what we need to be doing. Yes, the witch trials has had so much to do with the programming. And that's been coming up too, Donna. So thank you for bringing that up. That's been coming up so strongly that we're healing a lot of those witch wounds from those trials, all the witch trials, all of that sort of era were to do with disconnecting us. Even like I've been so mad about our Gregorian calendar that doesn't even honour the moon cycles. Like, why the fuck do we have leap years? Like, why do we not just have a month that is from new moon to new moon, or full moon to full moon, whatever we want to do it, but why do we not work with the moons? Why do we add in a leap year to make it all balance out? Because we can't honour what the cycles are in our life. And even that calendar was brought in to disconnect us from the earth, disconnect us from the cycles, disconnect us from knowing that we are in harmony and relationship with everything around us, that we're not separate from it. Awesome, Donna. I don't think I've got to the end of that one, or maybe I have. Oh, I can't remember. I'm reading so many books at the moment, so I just keep going to whichever one intuitively feels right at the moment. But yeah, it is. There's so much disconnection, and we can't rely on, the government isn't going to turn around and go, oh, our Gregorian, calendar disconnects us from the truth of we're connected to all these cycles. Let's change it. No, it's going to have to be us that change it. And we do by honouring the moon cycles, by working with the sun cycles. Like, as we are doing that, we are just shifting that, and eventually the calendar will change. Except for Easter, which is based on the full moon. I know, how weird is that? I'm like, how did they leave that one in? It's sort of like the one that got forgotten. It's sort of like, we couldn't shift that one. People would really notice it, so we'll just leave it. And it just hasn't been shifted and been so disconnected. So let's just remove and dissolve all those programs of disconnection that are disconnecting us and keeping us from coming into a deeper relationship with our bodies, with our own body's innate intelligence, with what true health and well-being actually is. And truth and health and well-being, if you watch a beautiful garden, a garden that is full of diversity, things grow, things mature, things die, things come, there's new life, new seeds growing, and they all grow at different rates. They all flower at different times. They all fruit. Like, I've got beautiful fruit trees everywhere. My garden is teaching me so much. And yet there is still this die-off as well. And all of that shows a healthy garden. The soil itself, did you know the soil moves with the planets? It's affected, of course, like when you hear this, you go, oh, well, of course, we're affected by the movement of the planets. Of course, the soil would be affected by the movement of the planets. And so your soil has different constitutions at different times of the year, depending on what the planets are doing. It will absorb water at different times better than others, depending on what the moon's doing and the planets. So it's amazing when we think of it, like, we're so disconnected with it, we don't even recognize that, let alone our bodies. Our bodies are meant to move in and out. Like, we're not meant to stay the same weight either. We're meant to move. It's meant to be an adaptive, beautiful, like a symphony, always flowing and moving, and beautiful sounds and beautiful music being made. And it's our linear logical equation thinking that's trying to keep everything in this equation of, this is what health looks like, or this is what our bodies should look like, or this is how we should be to keep fit, and all of this. And it doesn't work like that. Our bodies don't work like that. We're trying to fit some broken idea of separation onto our bodies, and our bodies are refusing. We're getting to a place in time and frequency and resonance that our bodies won't do it anymore. And that's why there's so much chronic illness and disease coming to the surface. We're healing all those patterns of separation, all of those things that have been down deep within our bodies that we've been carrying and passing on from generation to generation are coming up to be released. And for those of us who are experiencing it being released within our own bodies, that can be a bit confusing. But you know, like, you didn't come in here to just sit by and watch what's going on at this time. The souls that are here came in here to live it out. A smaller fluctuation in weight would be nice. Yes. Yep. I could go with that one as well. I know a few people who would agree with that too. But sometimes it is, and I'm finding, you know, like, my body is going through this amazing process that as it expands and I put on weight, as there's all this stuff that's germinating and that's coming to the surface, and I'm not quite aware of yet, or haven't quite gotten yet. And it seems to build up in my body, and my body expands. And then I get this drop in of insight and do this bit of healing, and it comes back down. And I'm like, wow. And it's going through this beautiful breathing process. And it's like, oh, our bodies are meant to breathe, they're meant to move, and they go through different cycles, especially women's bodies. Our bodies are more designed for that, being a manifestation of divine feminine. But it is so, we need to start honouring this and seeing it as healthy. The only reason we don't see it as healthy is because we've been told by this broken program, this broken system, that health only looks like this narrow view. And that's not health. It might be one person's experience of health. Not everybody's different, beautiful, amazing variety of health. So there's this honouring that we need to do of our bodies and listening to our bodies, and also let's remove the program that our bodies are broken, that we are broken. This has been coming up a lot too. Just bring up another level of accepting my sensitivity. Still waiting for the inside. I know, sometimes, this is the hard bit, sometimes those cycles are years of cycles, not just a couple of months or a month. You know, it'd be nice if it just moved with the moon, but sometimes we're moving with the bigger planet cycles. It'd be really interesting to somebody who's an astrologer. It'd be really interesting if they knew about or could help me with the different planets and their bigger cycles, how that if you think of your Saturn return, there's a cycle that goes on in our bodies to do with that. So I know it happens in our life and people talk about, oh my God, it's Saturn return, all of that sort of thing going on. So I wonder, when it's to do with our weight, if we're finding that cycle is bigger than a moon cycle, what planet is that attached to or connected to, which would then give us the theme. Saturn is 29 years. Yeah, so it'd be really interesting to see, what's one of the ones that's a bit of a smaller cycle that might be 5 years or 10 year cycle, and what's the theme going on there, and that might give us some insight about what that weight is, that weight cycle's about. That would be really interesting. So if anybody is an astrologer and knows about this stuff or has some insight, I'd love you to jump on and see if you've noticed those things, because each of us obviously have our own astrological birth chart, and that is a way of reading our own unique flow. So it'd be really interesting to see. Okay. Okay, so now I'm getting like a level of numbness coming in. So let's remove all the numbness. Let's just remove all the programs, all the patterns, dissolve them, complete them of numbness, this veiling of truth that happens, that we go into because it's another way of keeping us separate, and sometimes we want to stay separate from emotional pain. 4 planets in retrograde in your natal chart. That's really interesting. A lot of unveiling of what is beneath and hidden there, Donna. I wouldn't know what planets I have in retrograde. That's interesting. It's another level. See, I don't know a lot about astrology. I'm still, I pick up bits and pieces, but yeah, might have to have a look deeper into it. Yeah, so let's remove this numbness that comes over. The numbness that keeps us, that allows us to go into systems that aren't working for us anymore, or thinking that doesn't work for us. I've done my free one, but it was years ago, so I might need to re-look at that, because I've got the chart, but I haven't got all the information that came with it. So I'm going to have a look at that. With new eyes, new understanding and new awareness. I love it. Okay. We're just removing, the dumbing down. And I know that's why they use all the big words in a lot of things, to keep this, dumbing down of people. If we don't know the big words, then we're obviously not, it's designed to confuse and designed to make us feel like we're, numbed and dumbed down. And I know for me, sometimes when I'm reading stuff and the words are getting like it, I can feel that happening. My psychology textbook is one that is doing that to me, Donna. It is like driving me nuts. Kiwi guy called Graham Forsgren, I think I have to check his name, that has a new interpretation of astrology and works with sacred geometry of the universe. Oh, I might check him out, Nikki. Thank you. What is that word, Donna? Obfuscate. You have to give me the meaning. So let's remove the program. Let's dissolve the programming of using words and language to confuse people, to make them feel less than, to support the old systems of power and control. Let's dissolve all of them. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of resistance from some of the systems with that. It's a challenge the viewpoint with what I know. Yes, I love that. I love that about you, Donna. I think that's where you're exactly where you need to be. Oh, thank you, Nikki. That's awesome. Oh, well, there you go. That's exactly the, thank you, Donna, to confuse by use of language. So just dissolving all of that, which is bringing up a little bit of resistance from some of the systems and organisations. Okay, and interesting, it's even gone into a little bit of the magical community. So there is some societies there and groups there that use magical language to confuse as well. So it's not just medical language or intellectual language. They're a little bit unsettled, so I'm just going to do a bit of protection healing there and send them a few love bombs. Get over themselves. Okay. Okay, I'm now seeing some pathways open up into people's bodies. It's like all these programming in our head is been keeping us disconnected from a deeper relationship with our body. Legal, academia, medical and political. Yes. Yep. All of those. And those systems don't like it whenever I do a bit of healing. And I know a few other people have been doing collective healing on these things. These systems push back a little. There's a lot of these programs they use to stay in power and control. I gotta laugh about it. I used to affect me more. Now I just giggle and go, gonna change the world. You're gonna have to adapt. Which is going to go right against all their Newtonian understanding and way of being. That doesn't fit the equation. Adaptation isn't part of it. Oh my God, we can't adapt. Okay. Oh. Yes, the Draconians. I know it's not just them, but yes. They're not into the adaptation, are they? And harmony. Love. Okay. So just opening up some pathways, some more pathways into the body, and these are pathways of love and harmony and balance that are allowing you to really experience your own sense of truth with your body, your own relationship without, imagine if we had a relationship, a romantic relationship with our partner, and I'm sure some of you experience this where you've got the parents are involved, other people are involved, and all of a sudden the relationship is really not an easy one because there's all these people having input into it, rather than allowing that relationship to be its truth. And it feels like we've had all of that with our bodies, right from, I know even as a parent, even I've done this to my children, at times, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done, we get right from the beginning, we don't allow our children to be authorities over their own body. We're continually telling them what to do. Put the jumper on, it's freezing cold, or put your shoes on. You can't wander around without shoes on. Even those basic things. And so we've got so many layers of this being disconnected from our body. And so all of those pathways are being opened up with love so that we can reconnect at all the different levels and layers. Making that available at the collective level too for anybody or for everybody. Okay, so what I'm seeing is this beautiful adaptation is evolution. It is. I'm seeing this beautiful, rather than pushing against the old system, I'm seeing this beautiful new system just blossoming into being, with harmony and beauty and life force. Like whenever you're looking at getting some help for your health and well-being, look for somewhere full of life force, full of life, full of movement and flow. So much, like that was something I noticed, deeply in the medical system in the hospital, no life force. And I was talking, I think it was with you, Chloe, if you're still on, we were talking about our visions that we were having of hospitals in the future and all the life force and the life force technology coming, where there's this blend of technology and life, which I'm really excited, and I could see it was just amazing. And being in the hospital without that was really, there was no life force. Everything was dead. The food was dead, the environment was dead, the air was dead. Every part of it, all the procedures, everything was dead. There was no life in any of the procedures that were done, no life in any of the medications I was giving. It was all death. And although I am a great, I have great reverence for death in the cycle of life, that it is so needed, it is so profound, it is so powerful. There's a difference between death that's in a cycle and just nothing death, that is not part of a cycle, that is just a wipeout. It's a no life rather than death itself. Death itself is actually a transition, whereas this was just, breaking myself out of the paradigm, controlled parenting. Yeah, that's hard. It is, isn't it? Because we're so programmed, and, there are times when we have to, for safety reasons. And how do we negotiate that without controlling our kids? That's what I said, I know I've done it to my children as well. Was it Einstein who said, do not spend your time fighting the old, instead build the new and let it speak for itself? Yes. Which I try and work on, but sometimes I'm having to go in and do some de-weaving of the old ones at the moment. Seems to be my purpose. Hi, Leanne. So lovely to have you join. We've just been de-weaving a whole lot of programs and patterns around health and well-being and our thinking and the system and all of that. So, and we were just at a place of opening new pathways in our body to be able to reconnect fully to our bodies, because there's so many ways we've been disconnected from it. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys, anybody who's watching, anybody who's been experiencing imbalance or ill health, I want to find another word for that, because it just doesn't feel right. It feels, and same with disease, it feels like it gives us this programmed picture rather than the truth of what it is. So just imbalance in your body. I'm going to encourage you guys to look at what's the bigger picture, what's been going on for your whole being, what's going on energetically for you, what's going on spiritually, what's going on emotionally, what's going on environmentally. So often people leave a relationship and their health, all of a sudden everything gets better, or they move to another state, or they start a new job. So remember that all of this imbalance is a signal to you to come back into balance. And it may be to find a new sense of balance. So sometimes that takes a bit longer to find that new balance. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, Leanne. Out of self-resonance. Thank you, Nikki. That is perfect. Yes. And coming back into resonance, we might be, starting a whole new song, but it's about coming and finding that resonance so that that song is sounding all in harmony. But yeah, where is out of resonance with our truth? And it may be odd stuff. Remember, like if you're looking at everything in your life and going, actually, everything feels like it's flowing, it feels I'm in harmony with it all, it doesn't make sense, then it may be ancestral. There's a lot of that coming up. So remember, we've got ancestral stuff. Remember, we've got soul stuff. Many of us, our souls have lived through many, many lifetimes. And not just here on this planet, but in other places and other planets too, where we are healing all of that too. And it all coming to the surface and being released. So remember that is going on as well. I'm going to have another conversation, and I might do that I won't say next week, because I always go with the flow and whatever comes. So I say next week and then it doesn't happen. So at some point I want to have a conversation about initiations and honoring those new cycles coming in our life. Like, especially as women, we go through some really prominent ones as we start our menstrual cycle, and as we finish our menstrual cycle, as we become mothers, or as we come into a relationship. All of those things become quite prominent new beginnings, and we need to start honouring them more and realising that they have a profound effect on our bodies as well. So often we think of our menstrual cycle as separate, when really, like even our blood and the way that we bleed can be really profound on what is going on in our life, and working with it that way can be a really profound experience, and really connecting of what's going on with our cycles, and deeper what's going on with the blood. How does it look? I've had such a big theme of blood the last couple of days with this blood moon. I'm just like, oh my God, blood, everything. And so I've started practicing in the Sacred Women's Wisdom Circle. A little bit of a shout out if anybody, I think most of you who are on live know about the Sacred Women's Wisdom Circle, but anybody who watches this after, I have a group, the Sacred Women's Wisdom Circle, and it's just a Facebook group at the moment. Eventually I've got a membership site setting up, in the process of setting up on my website, and so eventually I'll move over to there, I think, out of Facebook, but at the moment it's in Facebook. So if you want to join, it's $20 a month, and it's just a beautiful space to hold these conversations with each other, with beautiful women. Ah, that's really interesting, Leanne. Wow. Do you always flood? Like, is it always very heavy? I can't share the link because I don't know how to do that, but I will. I'll go back in and share the link. Because that's really interesting. I know a few people have messaged me about how they had really, really heavy period yesterday, or that their period showed up out of sync, or they had blood stuff going on. But in what I was saying in the, oh yes, you do. That's really interesting. I wonder if you were doing a lot of shedding for the collective. I know you're a bit of a powerhouse. So it can be, remember that again, this talk of that we're separate rather than integrated. And so as you're moving through your cycle, your own period, it's not always, and depends as well. Sometimes, like, I bleed more with the full moon. So a lot of my bleeding time is actually in service to the collective. There's a lot of collective themes in it, rather than just personal. So Leanne, you might be doing a lot of work for maybe your ancestral line, or for the collective, or all the women. I know you've got a lot of women that you connect with and work with deeply. Even, I see that it's not just beauty. There is a lot of deep work that you do, and it may be that you are doing that work through your womb wisdom. So just work with that. See what it tells you. See what comes up for you as you connect to it. Go, okay, why am I bleeding heavily? Could it be, if it's interfering with things, it might be that you want to work with that so that you're doing the work in another way rather than that way. Hope that helps, gives you a little bit of insight. Ah, interesting. You have menstrual hemorrhaging in your dream. Wow. See, so much blood stuff. This is amazing. And look at the power of our freaking cycles. Like, I'm just like, they're so powerful. They're an oracle in themselves. Leanne, read it just like you do your oracle cards. Just read your cycle and your blood that way. Tells me to eat. If you've always bled that way, then you may find that is your natural flow. And you do have a huge energy, so it makes sense that you would. But read it like an oracle. Read the blood like an oracle. You can do that. And that's what I was going into. I started practicing remote viewing of the blood. And I did a little bit because I've been learning about live blood analysis in my uni course. But I reignited the passion by watching a beautiful interview. And I don't like the idea of, because I've had so many needles and so much invasion of my body, I don't like the idea of pricking the finger. I feel like it's another invasion. And so I have the ability to remote view. I have the ability to medical intuit. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And it was really cool. So hopefully, like, I know a few of you girls that are on volunteered in my group for me to do a bit of a reading on their blood. And it was really interesting for me to connect with everybody's different blood flow in their body and what it looks like and what was coming up, what visions I was being shown and pictures I was being shown. So it was really cool. So I'm going to do more of that in my sessions as well. So for people who want to know what's going on, not only in their physical body, but why that's happening in their physical body and what's it connected to in their life. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that more in my sessions. Menstrual blood is the only bleeding that does not come from war injury, and yet is Yeah, and it's the blood that disgusts society the most, I know. And yet it is an amazing, yeah, I'm going to do it, Leanne. It's so powerful, it's beautiful. But yeah, and yet our menstrual blood is our oracle. Like we can see, the health of your body shows up first in your cycle as women. And for men, it shows up, like if they have erection problems or any sexual dysfunction going on, there is some serious health issues or spiritual or emotional issues going on that need to be dealt with. It's not something to just, take a pill and be over and done with. And the same with women, like, let's just put them on the pill rather than going, hey, what's going on for them? And we do it so much with our young girls. Like, we've really got to stop this practice of interfering with their bodies and start honouring our bodies. I get really annoyed with that. I'm a big believer in each woman needs to choose and I honour any woman's choice, whatever that is for her. But I also want to teach that we've got to stop interfering so much and really start honouring what is going on, seeing into it, like seeing our menstrual blood and our cycle as an oracle of what is going on. What's happening for her? Is there just some balance that needs to come in? Is it sorting itself out? Is she going through some emotional stuff? Is she too stressed? I love reading my blood. It's shapes, colours and quantities. Yes. It's so powerful, isn't it, Chloe? Mine's been really, since I've been sick, mine's been so, like the smell has made me just sick as it's still clearing out all of those, the trauma and the experience, and I can feel it clearing it out. And I was really surprised, like it really surprised me when I was in ICU getting my period. And I was absolutely devastated because they saw it as just a bodily function and there was no honour of it. And I was just sort of going, oh my God, my body's been able to have a period. Like, what the fuck? Yes. Yes. And we live with such a low level of what we think health and well-being is. And like I was talking to the person that I was talking to today, like it's starting to get to the point where the doctors are like, oh, she's just making it up, because they don't want to deal with, they don't know where it's coming from. So their answer is either it's autoimmune or you're making it up. It's all in your head, rather than going, actually, this person is in pain. What's going on here? And yeah, with our menstrual cycle, just, yeah, whatever. And yet we're not supposed to have a lot of pain, like when everything's in balance. Like even, it's so easy for the uterus to move out of place as well. And it moves. We have, I found it really interesting listening to this interview by Dr. Harvey Bigglestein, and I've shared some of some information from his book that I'm reading at the moment, some passages that I really resonated with. But he was talking about there being 5 diaphragms in the body, so not just the one under our ribs, but there's one in our hips, one under our ribs, one in our throat, and 2 in our head. And our body is meant to breathe and move. And you think how many of our girls, like even our boys, how many of them are sitting in chairs from when they're young? They're not moving. There's no natural movement going on. Even the playgrounds are not built to, if you've ever had a bird, this is a great way of explaining it. If you've ever had a bird, you should always put in natural sticks and twigs in their cages, not the plastic rail that comes with the cage. The plastic rail that comes with the cage is just the same size all the way along and doesn't give any variety, and is actually really bad for the bird's health. It's bad for their feet and can cause a lot of problems. It's the same for humans. Our playgrounds have become this, there's no nature in them. They're metal and, some of them are really creative and beautiful, but there needs to be this allowance of natural movement for our kids. And so you can imagine if this, when we're talking about our menstrual cycles and our uteruses, if our girls have been sitting in chairs for the past 6, 7, 8 years, not moving their bodies in natural ways, the uterus doesn't move about how it should. It gets stuck and it gets sitting in positions that it shouldn't and that are not good for it, and it doesn't allow for flow. And then, of course, they start their period and the body's going, nothing's flowing properly. There's blockages here. And so we need to start honouring that our uteruses need to be able to move in and out. They need to be able to breathe as well, just like all these other parts of our body need to be able to move in and out. And we need to have flow through our body. If you think of water, if you put water and just leave it stagnant, it goes yuck. That's what happens to our bodies and the blood flow in our bodies and the whole system, the electrical flow, the energetic flow. It all gets stagnant, and then causes illness, blockages, disease. And that. Also, no initiation for young girls and guys too. Yes, that is a big thing that I'm like really want to see more of. You know, like we need to, it's a bit hard. I've been trying to find ways of doing that suit our culture and lifestyle. Because, you know, to send my child out on an Aboriginal style initiation would not work. If that's not the culture they've grown up in. So trying to find some that fit the culture, and I know we were talking about culture last night, Chloe, as well, just playing with it, seeing, but yes, we so much need that to come in as a norm rather than, something that some of us do. Yes, it is. It's a beautiful one. And I miss doing red tents, Donna. But I'm not physically, there yet. Maybe that's something that'll come in. I know there's so many more popping up, which is awesome. I'm seeing so many more women running them, women's circles. And I know that men's circles, there's more and more of them coming up. Oh, that would be awesome, Donna. Matthew Greenwood was looking at doing male initiation shaman style. That would be amazing. Yeah. So, and I think we also, you know, we need to, like I said, have ones that are all different, you know, like there are some people that wouldn't resonate with the shaman style. And so we need to have some that are created and designed for the culture that our kids are in as well, or have an element of that. So it's not foreign to them. Yeah. Well, I'm loving this conversation, you guys. We've gone through everything, a lot of stuff. Okay, feeling like the energy is slowing down, which is really good. We need a red tent for males, yes. No longer a fan of red tent. Is there a reason for that, Chloe? Like, are you able to share? Do you feel comfortable sharing that? Was it just your experience in them, or in some ways they can, I would assume that there is a not allowing for the individuality. It becomes a group consciousness and can become a bit closed. It'd be interesting to see. If you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. Yes. I think that's a lot with a lot of things, Chloe. Like, we've had all of this stuff opening up as the Divine Feminine has been awakening on the planet. And to start with, a lot of these things have been created still with old programs in place. And we've had a lot of false sisterhood because, again, we go back to those witch burning times that Donna mentioned before as well. All of those times where we did, you know, work woman against woman. We separated for survival. And so we're learning how to come together as women without the false sisterhood, without the competition, and just to come together with this beautiful, just honouring of each other. Haha, Donna, yes. Yes, that's interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, I think a lot of those things are have had to come through some of the old energy. And I know that's the same with a lot of the systems like Reiki, and it's not to discount Reiki or any of the other systems like I've done theta healing as well. And I've found all of those systems got to a point where they're now too constrictive for me because they had been brought through in the old energy. And to bring through something like that in the density that we had before, it had to come through with some of the old energy and old programs, and within a system or a structure that didn't allow for flow. And that's some of my yoga practice as well. I've been for years, I love yoga. I resonate deeply with yoga, but I find that that for years I've felt like this is a very masculine, structured form that doesn't always serve me. And I can see that's because it came through in that deep density, and the only way for it to come through was in structure and form, because that's what was all that was available. And so I think as we're awakening and bringing through and remembering these ancient ways, they're also being tainted, coming through with still the ancient wounding as well, to be healed before they can come into their divine fullness, which is going to be a blend of the ancient and the new, not just a resurgent of the old. Yes, she flow yoga. Yeah, there was a lady, I saw a beautiful interview, and I can't remember her name. She's quite a more older lady, and I loved her experience and her sharing of yoga. I can't even remember what her style is that she brings through, and it's very feminine, a lot more flowing, and a lot more honoring of what does your body feel like doing at this moment, rather than a set structure to follow. And so I've been working with sort of that, just with my body. How does it feel? What does it want to do? And that came about because years ago I was doing some yoga classes, and every time I just get angry, like so angry I couldn't finish the class. All I would do is just have anger coming up, and I'd be raging. And all my body wanted to do was sit in child's pose. And I was like, well, you can't do that. That's not yoga, you know. And my own programming, I had to go into my own programming and let that go. Nidra yoga, yes, yep. So all of these beautiful yogas are coming out that are honouring more of the feminine flow rather than that structure. So I had to get out of my own head with that, of what yoga looked like, and why couldn't, if my body felt like spending half an hour in child's pose, why not just do that? And when I allowed that, oh my God, it was the most nourishing, beautiful experience of yoga. And so now I incorporate a little bit more dance, or a little bit more just flowing with my body. How does it feel in that movement? And I only go with what my body feels like doing, rather than a structure. Although I think, in saying that, I think learning some structure and process and organization to start with is really good. It gives you a great grounding to then move with how you feel. So She flow yoga, Nidra yoga, and Yin yoga is another one that's a little bit more feminine, where you're doing a lot more, you're holding the poses for a lot longer, and it's a lot more floor work. And I tried Kundalini yoga with Michelle Byrne here in Wollonga, and that's just beautiful, like the chanting, and it, although it's strong, it is also a little bit more on the floor, rather than really strong, powerful poses up. The class that I did anyway, I haven't done lots of them. Tai Chi is beautiful, and Qigong, yeah, I love that. Yeah, so all of these have benefit, but yeah, like I was saying with the Red 10 thing, I think that false sisterhood has come because those things are being remembered, but we're also remembering with the wounding, and it's about healing the wounding so that we can blend those ancient and new coming together. Okay, beautiful loves, I am going to love and leave you because my dog is barking to come in. He is trying my patience. He has become a stubborn old man who is pushing my buttons, and yes, I wish I could teach him a little bit of yoga. He would benefit so much from that. Might do some light pen on him. But anyway, so I'm going to go and deal with him. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I'm just going to check that all the energy has settled, that I'm not leaving anything undone. Okay, all of those cycles are just slowly closing and completing. All the old ones. And everything that we've talked about, like, something to remember is, as we're talking about anything that is being addressed in sacred space, I'm finding there is a lot of magic that gets woven through that. There's a lot of healing and a lot of power in sharing in sacred space. So as you guys have shared in here, it's brought about weaving in all these different areas. So I want to honour and thank you all for joining me and for your input and lovely conversation. And I feel like it's wonderful. It's like I get to have a cup of tea with all you guys without you being here. It just, yeah, it's beautiful. So thank you. Sending you all so much love, and thank you for you guys holding space for my sacred rage. I'm glad it was slightly, I'd already spoken to my husband and really let rip, so it was nice to just have it slightly less rage filled. An infusion of love, infusion of everybody. So thank you so much. Blessings to you all. Full moon blessings for yesterday, and the Aquarius Lionsgate portal. I don't know the name of it, Donna. I can't remember now. The two of the 2 year, the 11 year, for tomorrow. Yes, it's so beautiful when everybody is just, I love it. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your evening and have a great rest of the week. It's Friday tomorrow, I think, if I'm up to Thursday, if we're right. Enjoy your night. Bye.